what is the role of the task force? What do you do? How do you do it?
Okay, Neil. So, look, there's been enormous amount of work being done in the state jurisdictions around ICE, and in Victoria, we saw the parliamentary inquiry into ICE, about 12 months ago, which is done again. It's probably been the best work I've seen in Australia. But all these things, they're not connected across Australia. We're looking at all the good things, all the bad things, all the gaps, all the opportunities, and hopefully we can involve the federal government in tying much of this stuff together. We need to understand what works across the country. We need to understand where there's investment gaps. We need to understand where there's law enforcement gaps, and then put together some work for the federal government so they've got a way forward.
So, to look at the problem first, and you and I have talked about it when you were wearing the uniform. How big is it? How significant is this as an issue for Australia?
Well, Neil, ever since you've been a journalist and ever since I was in Victoria Police, there'd be cycles of drugs. Heroin was the drug of choice, or cannabis was the drug of choice, and ice now is the drug of choice for many. But I can never recall the amount of community harm that is occurring because of this drug. So you're seeing families ripped apart, you're seeing lives being ruined, you're seeing violence against emergency service workers, you're seeing violence against doctors in hospital, you're seeing violence against mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters at a level that I've never ever seen before. Now, the data's indicating that we've got about 200,000 people in Australia using ice on a regular basis. Unless we get to a space where we can stem that use, it's going to be enormously problematic going forward. I've spoken before about we can't arrest our way out of this. We've been trying to do this for 10 years. Law enforcement has a very, very important part to play with organised crime and the dealers, obviously. But there is this bit about education, there's this bit about the health sector, there's a bit about supporting families that I think we need to understand better. Now, some of the work across Australia does do that. We need to pick up those threads. We need to join them together to give the federal government a strategy at a Commonwealth level where we can make our community safer. So this will be about challenging. This will be about testing. This will be about listening to new ideas. Minister Keenan, when he announced this task force, made the comment that nothing's off limits. So that's enormously empowering for myself and the other task force members about challenging the status quo. And
nothing's off limits. Radical ideas?
We need to listen to them, Neil. As I say, the strategy at the moment is not working.
We know what'll come forward. Somebody will want to decriminalise or legalise it.
And we need to test that. We need to understand it. We need to see other models around the world, whether it's working. So we've got a group of people that can do that. So I suspect that we'll come forward with a piece of work that can make a difference. Now, there'll be a lot of people out there that are sceptical, that may well think that we'll take a law enforcement focus, but we'll get the runs on the board and then people can judge us.